Zach tries to get a better look at Cottonwood Gas Ranch, squinting as his mom calls Rubber forward. Why are we on vacations in the middle of nowhere? He grumbled. He flicked his thumb across his smartphone screen. The map doesn't even get a signal. To take a break from all that, Desmond replied. She reached over, grabbed his phone from his hands, and lowered the window. Smell that? The fresh air out there. That's nature. To Zack, the air smelled like horses and cows. He could even see the horses tossing the manes. They went inside the main buildings to check in. Dash looked through the guest packet, examining photos of the week's activities. There could be horseback riding and hiking, river rafting, and rodeo skill, all leading up to Real Cattle Drive. He had to admit that the activities looked pretty cool, especially the riding. Although he stared out the window, thinking how strange it was cross a desert by car. It had passing by the landscape. You appear bored of it. Still, Zack felt a little uneasy as he followed his mom to the room. Mom, are you sure this place is fast? He asked. I mean, the people in the photos don't exactly look like us. Give it a chance, his mom urged gently, kicking off her shoes. Your Uncle Grant said they had a great time when they came here last summer. Next morning, Zach went to his first horseback riding lessons. As one of the beginners, he started by learning the pose of the horse and saddle. He also learned how to not get stumped or chomped on. The riding instructors make riding seem easy, but Zach's horse, Gizmo, had other ideas. He has huge teeth and muscles like marbles. He would not obey Zach's commands. The afternoon hike was a relief, but even so, Zach felt disappointed. Walking around while Cathy stabbed you was nowhere near as fun as ride real through the desert. Would he ever be able to do that? The next day, Zach was dragging his face back toward the stable when a tall African American man walked by. All right, grammar beginners. We boomed exactly. A black cowboy working as a ranch hand in New Mexico. The name's Mitch, the man said, giving Zack the wink. Settle up. Zack led into action, but by the end of class, it was clear he's not keeping up. The other beginners were shouting, while Zack could barely direct Gizmo wanderings. Why don't we spend a little time with Gizmo, one-on-one? Mitch suggests. Jack blushes. That's okay, he mumbled. Horseback riding isn't really my thing. That's a lot of manner, Mitch replied, and slipped a sugar cube into Jack's hand. Sugar's the first secret of cowboying, he joked. Keep your palm flat now. Gizmo gobbled the sugar cube as fast as a jackrabbit. Zack grinned. Mitch smiled back, then fixed Jack's posture, moved his knees, and told him to loosen his grip on the rein. You're in charge. Wait. You're in charge of the horse, he said. Always remember that. Slowly, Zack took Gizmo for a walk around the pen. This time, the horse followed his lead. Now that's what I'm talking about. You're a natural, Mitch said, smiling. Zack took the 3 more loops around the pen, a little faster each time, and suddenly Gizmo got smoked by a parrot. and Mitch had to grab the reins. By exact this amount, his leg was shaking. I might be not cut for this ranch stuff, he sighed. Now, what's that supposed to mean? Asked Mitch. I mean, well, come on, Dad exclaimed. Being a cowboy isn't for black folks, is it? You don't think I'm a real cowboy? Mitch asked pointedly. I guess, Zach asked, rolling his eyes. Don't you roll eyes at me, son, Mitch replied. What do you teach kids at school these days? There's a long history of black cowboys. In fact, in the old days, one of out every four cowboys was black. No way, Zach exclaimed. Maybe cowboy could be him, could be for you after all. Guess what? Mitch said, including some of the most famous ones. Both Icor was a tracker in the early Texas cattle drives. Charlie Willis was born a slave and died a Bruno Buster. Bill Pickett, Riordan studied cowboy after 5th grade. Wow, Zach breathed. Mitch chuckled. It's true. For more than 100 years, black cowboys found a special kind of freedom out here in the West. Sometimes they had to do the dirtiest work, but still they kept on. They proved themselves and rode with the other cowboys. They proved themselves and rode with white, Mexican, Native American, you name it. All of them were equal out under the desert sky. Only that morning, Zed believed there was no place for him in the cowboy story of the West. Suddenly, everything was different. Thank you, he whispered. No problem, Bud, Mitch said. The rest of the way, the only thing Dad could talk about was the riding. He had to go now to ride in the cattle drive. He knew he was not ready yet to learn the lasso or barrel ride, but he also knew if he left on, like Mitch had said, he would be able to prove himself. He started skipping the afternoon activities to practice. At night, he rode Gizmo in his dreams. They didn't saw his nose, of course. The morning of the cattle drive, he noticed all the sharp cutty, the drops that could trip Gizmo. Ready, Bud? Asked Mitch. You bet, Dash replied, squaring his shoulders. Then they were off. At first, all they could think was back, straightened, knees up, eyes ahead. All round him rode the ranch hands and the other guests. Plenty of them was also beginners. Deb and Gizmo trotted confidently through the scrub. They weren't gambling, but they were keeping pace. When they reached the herd, the cattle seemed unsure where to go, just like the guests. That glanced at his mom. How did the cattle drive work exactly? The cowboys knew. Mitch and the other ranch hands surrounded in the herd began pushing toward the fresh grazing land. The guests caught on quickly. Through the cowboy turned out to be hot, sweaty, dirty work. It was challenging, keeping track of the cattle and Gizmo at the same time. Still, Dad has never had so much fun. That night at the campfire he collapsed beside Mom crowded. Best day ever. You were great out there, she said, smiling proudly. Do you want to see? She dug into her pocket and came out the less than Dad's expect. And his photos, the photo after photo, So Jack and his horse, the land and the cattle, but the stuffed toast was stealing Jack away from here and now. Beneath the starlit sky, the ranch hands sang cowboy songs. Jack turned the pops and popped a marshmallow into his mouth. "Thanks, Mom," he said, "but you know what? Right now I don't want to be anywhere but here."